Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minion with me this evening, at least thus far, is Adam.
Hello.
We will be joined by SoraLuna here in a little bit. She's still on her way home, last I heard. But once she gets home, she should be hopping in. And as it is once again a Friday, I'm, of course, the keeper for this evening, Sanguine. How are you doing tonight, Adam?
Uh, y- um, I'm doing all right. How are you doing, sir?
Doing grand. I'm enjoying a cookie that I just baked.
Oh, yeah. You were telling me that you were cooking some cookies.
Yep, baking up a handful of cookies because I
Well,
felt
yeah,
like I
bacon.
wanted a little bit of a dessert. So I had cookie dough that I had made. I used it.
It's
Ooh,
not bad.
very hot.
Ooh.
I just got molten chocolate on my tongue. But
Hey. Yeah. No, I haven't. Nothing really going on with me. You know,
mhm,
normal work week. Just lucky to get to the weekend.
mhm.
Gonna prep up because I think it said it was supposed to get pretty chilly this weekend, so I think I'm gonna have to go and get a space heater or something like that.
Mm. Yeah, I'm happy that it's finally cooling down because last week and the end of last Saturday through most of the week, I was just absolutely dying. I have a tree mold allergy, and tree mold season is at the end of fall, beginning of winter, until you get that first deep freeze and snow. So I've just been absolutely dying. Nose all stuffed up, throat feeling gunked and swollen. But it's finally getting cold enough that all of that has gone away. So I'm able to breathe again, which is amazing. But yeah, I had a fairly standard couple days off. Had a really good TTRPG session last night with some people, and it was a good time. My character continues to just punch everyone that he can and sucker punch anyone that he possibly can. And I realized something. I haven't been using that character to their full potential because not only can they sucker punch physically, they can mentally sucker punch people. So now I'm mentally sucker punching people,
Ew.
which is all kinds of fun. Someone big and bad, and suddenly they're just fucked in the head for a few rounds. But yeah, my days off have been good. Worked some OT on Wednesday night into Thursday. Had a good game session last night. Today's been fairly relaxed. I also made some confit garlic last night, which confit garlic is a thing of beauty. Have you ever had confit garlic?
I don't believe I have. What is comfy? Well, first off, what is comfy garlic?
So, confit is a cooking method, meaning that you've submerged something entirely in a cooking fat of some sort and you slowly cook it. So, in this case, I did butter confit garlic. So, I peeled the garlic, I threw it all in a small baking vessel, and then I melted butter and completely submerged the garlic in the melted butter. Stuck it in the oven to roast for a bit. So it's roasting while submerged in fat, and it makes it delicious. So I have this insanely garlic infused butter and the soft roasted garlic that you can just mash up with the back of a spoon and then mix into sauces and various other things. So for the next few days, I'm just going to be using up my confit garlic and that ridiculous garlic butter that I made. So, like, tonight's dinner was a bit of a spin on scampi. I took shrimp, seared it off, then in a bit of that ridiculous garlic butter, pulled out the shrimp, threw in angel hair pasta, and mashed up some of the roast garlic with the butter, mixed that in, deglazed the pan with a bit of Riesling, splashed in some lemon juice, let that reduce a little bit, coat the noodles, throw the shrimp back in to get coated, add in some Parmesan cheese, and plate.
Ooh.
It was delicious. But yeah, confit garlic is absolutely amazing. Gives you this insanely deep roast garlic flavor. And it is almost, if you pay attention to it, even halfway, it is almost impossible to burn the garlic. So you just end up with this nice roasted garlic that gets a deep, even brown. It's fantastic.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And also about to try a...
Wait.
Okay.
It's just kind of funny because talking about garlic and I'm drawing about garlic, but
Nice.
uh,
Now, which garlic are you drawing? Are you drawing the little Namekian garlic, or are you drawing garlic, the food garlic?
a garlic that I don't know what I'm drawing garlic because I'm sitting there. I'm like, what in the fuck does a garlic look like? And then how am I gonna position it in this? In this, it's just, look. I've been doodling on a sketch for a bit, and one of it is part of the garlic, and it's like kind of funny that you were like, hey, yeah, garlic, but.
Mm-hmm. I love garlic. It is an absolutely amazing flavor that can be used in just about anything savory. So, yeah,
I hear,
like it.
well, I hear it's good for your heart too.
Yep. And yeah, like I said, I'll be using that confit garlic for the next few days, because the one bad thing about confit garlic is that it does not last very long after you make it, because it can be prone to being a host for botulism.
Botulism.
Yes, botulism. It's the bacteria that then releases botulism toxin. So it's botulina. I'm trying to remember the entire genus and species name, but yeah, it releases an endotoxin that paralyzes you. Lax paralysis.
Ooh. Oh, wait. Yeah.
It's also used for Botox.
Botox.
Yeah. Botox is, you get the botulinum, which is the name of the endotoxin that's released, and you inject that into the face in order to cause lax paralysis of those muscles, relaxing them.
Is that what they commonly use, or
Oh, that's exactly what they use. It's not common. It is if you're getting Botox, you're getting
well, I mean,
the
sir, you're. I don't know if I'd ever look into Botox. So outside of like, oh, hey, yeah, that guy, or yeah, that guy looks like he used Botox.
anyone that gets Botox. What it is it's botulism being injected into their muscles to cause, or the toxin from botulism being injected into the muscles in order to relax the muscles. And there's other uses than just beautification rituals. Oh yeah, it's Clostridium botulinum is the bacteria I needed to double check. Also, there's Clostridium butyricum, which can also be an issue, as well as Barati. But the main one is Clostridium botulinum, and then there's the botulinum toxin, which is the one that causes lax paralysis. So they inject it into facial muscles in order to make people look younger. Also, it can be used in order to treat migraines.
Well, how does Botox treat migrants?
Well, it causes lax paralysis, meaning that the neurons don't fire and don't cause the contractions. So what you do is migraines are caused by the either inflammation, or it can also be caused by the extreme contraction of various muscles. So you inject the muscles that are causing the migraine, that are contracting and causing the pain, with botulinum, and suddenly they don't contract. So if they don't contract to cause the pain, you don't have the pain.
Well,
The problem is if it escapes the muscle and goes into the bloodstream, then you can have it actually start to work on things that you don't want it to, like your diaphragm,
oh man. Oh,
which is why
okay.
there's
So hold on. I'm botulizing from the migrant crisis, and apparently, yes, if there's a breach, we could have a problem. Oh no! I tried to make a joke, but it didn't work out. Uh, it got way too ahead of me.
but yeah, that's the reason why you're told if you ever do get a Botox injection to not go into like hot tubs and shit like that for a period of time,
Oh,
because that increases the likelihood of it escaping the intended area, and thus increases the likelihood that you'll end up with either universal lax paralysis. Also, the fucked up thing about botulism toxin is that there's no reversal. What you have to do is you have to wait until those cells that were affected have been replaced, because there is no counter agent to botulism.
sounds like debauchery to me.
Yeah, there's a agent that makes it so that your body doesn't uptake the botulism toxin, but there isn't an agent to counteract the toxin. So if you realize that you're suffering from botulism and it's the early stages, then you can get the one treatment that reduces the rate at which your body uptakes the toxin, preventing more of you from becoming paralyzed. But once things become paralyzed, you just have to wait until those cells are replaced for those cells to start working again. And yeah, it's one of those things that if it's done properly, Pop-Tart, it isn't that dangerous because it's done in a small dose, it's done straight into the muscles, so the chance of it being injected improperly, if done by a trained professional, is very minimal. There are still issues. There are still people that fuck it up. There's backyard clinics that end up fucking it up spectacularly. But if done in the proper setting, the risks are fairly minimal. Just when it goes bad, it goes bad. Ooh.
Yeah.
Just tried a rum that I haven't had before, and it's rather lovely.
What kind of rum is it?
The Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva.
Ooh.
And it's fairly decent. I've had the Montano, and that one's rather good. This one, it's not my favorite rum that I've had, but it's a good rum. Oh, I did not see you say that you wanted on Pop-Tart. Let me quickly shoot you a invite.
Hey, right on.
There you go, Pop-Tart. You now have an invite. And yeah, it can also be used for temporary relief of tremors and a number of other things. Anytime that you want a muscle to not be able to contract, you can use botulinum toxin. Again, the issue is if it spills into surrounding tissues. It's kind of like how there's... You know what fugu is, right, Adam?
Wait, fugu?
Fugu.
Hold on. Is it an acronym or is it
No,
an actual?
It's an actual word. It's the full name of something.
A full name. It's the fugu is a full name. Can I request help from a friend?
Well, Pop-Tart just popped in. Hello, Pop-Tart.
Hey,
Hello.
Pop,
Do you know what fugu
please save
is?
me. What is a fugu?
Sorry, I don't know.
Oh no! What is a
Fugu?
fugu?
Fugu's Japanese pufferfish.
Oh, I know what that is. I
Yeah,
just
well,
don't know
yeah.
the name.
Why did you say pufferfish?
Because it's not all pufferfish. It's the fugu pufferfish, which is the Japanese pufferfish.
The one that they have to be really careful preparing or they kill you.
Yep. And the reason
Yeah.
for that is there's a poison in fugu that is called TTX. Let me quickly pull up the full name of... It is the tetrodotoxin is the full name of TTX. It's a extremely potent neurotoxin. And there's actually medical uses for TTX. And TTX is insanely deadly. But turns out that if you have like a 1 to 1 billion dilution of TTX, then you have someone with severe nerve pain and you inject that 1 to 1 billion dilution into their spinal column where the nerve pain is taking place. The nerve pain goes away and they don't die. That's a similar thing. There's a lot of poisons that have medical uses.
That's scary. But
Yeah.
welcome, Pop-Tart.
Hi. Now, what I was saying on the Botox thing is I don't know. I don't think it's worth it for the wrinkles. Just be wrinkly. Like, on the off chance it does go wrong, Like, not even just you dying or anything, but like I've seen people's faces go so fucked up doing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
If it rather than just going for the surface level muscles that they target, they end up punching too deep
All right.
and hit the deep facial muscles. Then you end up
dude,
with just the
Look like
you've
you had a
had
stroke.
stroke, and it's just this. Yes, I am
Yeah.
doing okay.
you know
As
you've
half your
gone
face doesn't
wrong
do anything.
when your face corresponds with an Sum 41 song. When you're in too deep and you're trying to get.
Or I also when people overdo it and you get like uncanny valley looking at them because their face isn't moving at all as they're talking to
Yeah,
you, and it's
Oh yeah.
they look like clay fighters, you know?
like they did. I know some people just do the forehead because you get those deep forehead wrinkles, but some people do like around their cheeks and all kind. And then it's just like no part of their face is moving as they're talking to you, and it's like this is weird. I don't
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, come on now. We know.
like aging. I know people don't like it because you don't look like you or the you want to be, but if you're lucky, you age. So just roll with it.
Yep.
You know.
But yeah, it isn't terribly dangerous, but yeah, I definitely understand the. I know it's not dangerous, but at the same time, the extent that it is dangerous too, not worth it just to look a bit younger.
Yeah, and it's just kind of risky in a lot of different ways. It's just, it's also like just plastic surgery in a general sense, it can always go south. And like you see that a lot with like older Hollywood figures. Like the older they get, the more cartoony they're looking
The more wax doll.
because they keep doing plastic surgeries to try to look like the old selves, but they never look like their old selves. They look like a weird version, like someone drew it by memory.
So
It
okay,
looks
so
like
would it
someone
be
drew it by memory and then made a blow up doll out of it.
would it be fair to say that Madonna would be an
Yeah.
example of that right now?
She
Yep.
she's become a cartoon version of Madonna.
Cher is another good example.
Oh.
Now, like someone who did plastic surgery somewhat well, Dolly Parton. Like
Yeah,
we all know she's had a
no,
lot of plastic surgery.
exactly.
She's upfront about it. She's like, "Oh yeah, every time anything wrinkles or drops, I go get it nipped and tucked." Like she's very open about it, but she doesn't look horribly cartoony either. You could tell it's plastic surgery, but it's not like those guys on a boardwalk that draw cartoon giant versions of your head.
Indubitably.
That's what a lot of them look like is like giant, weird, morphed, cartoony versions of themselves. And it's like it's kind of. I mean, if that's what you want to look like, okay, but it's kind of weird.
Hey, it's yeah. Yeah, if that's what you want to look like. You know,
I mean, you're rich, roll with it, I guess. But like, don't expect that. The public's not going to kind of make fun of you for it. It's like Madonna. A lot of people are absolutely making fun of her constantly now.
Oh yeah, because she looks like a blow up doll made to look like a young Madonna for some reason.
Oh Lord, that made me think of something which might make some people mad. I don't know how many Blair White fans are in there, but a long time ago, she went to one of the conferences and someone took a picture of her just in an auditorium by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed Chris, and Chris went, "Why did someone take a sex doll to a conference?" I'm like, "Chris, that's a person." And he was like, "Oh shit."
oh no.
He was like, "Really?" He's like, "It really looks like that fake rubber skin. Like I didn't even realize that was a real person." I was like,
Was
"Oh
it really?
no."
Oh, the world may never know.
It's strange the way that people will try to change their form in order to look more appealing
And I
to
mean,
their imagination of appealing, rather.
yeah, some people can actually make that doll look without ever getting a whole lot of surgeries or anything, just by like makeup and dress and stuff. But I still find it a little weird. If you could be mistaken for like a CPR doll, you probably uh, may have
Well,
gone too far.
well, I'm glad you said that because
Mhm.
that brings us into our next category in cryptids. And what exactly could we find out there? What kind of creatures or humanoids may we find in the wild? What have you seen? I don't know. I didn't. I just kind of was rolling with it.
Chris believes in mer people.
Mer
He
people,
thinks that's yeah, he thinks that's actually a pretty high possibility.
like mermaids.
Well, yeah, but they're not like, Disney version.
Oh,
But I mean, honestly, if you look through like
so they're
cave
not black.
paintings and stuff, I don't know. If you look through cave paintings and stuff, there are like drawings of like people in the ocean throwing spears and arrows and stuff at people on land, and there is, there were other species of humanoids that branched off, and we, they died off or we killed them off one. So I
Or
mean,
we interbred with them.
yeah, that's true too. So the possibility that some branch of humanity or a humanoid of some sort made it into the water, that's not too illogical.
I can see it. I mean, honestly, too.
And to be fair, we know more about space than we know about our deep oceans. So
Yeah, that's why Loch Ness monster makes sense.
I'm not convinced by any of them, but I do find it rather. One of my favorite ideas for a story is when you look into myth and legend, there's a handful of things that are always mentioned as being a ward against various spirits and beings and shit like that. Some of them are iron, moving water, silver, and thresholds. When you look at a lot of our construction, it's done with iron. Parts of it are done with silver. There's moving water in everyone's walls and underneath every street. And there's a fair number of thresholds about. So, one of my favorite ideas is, what if everything that went bump in the night is real and all of human society was made in order to protect us from that? And we've just completely forgotten that, well, yes, nails are very effective when they're made out of iron and steel. The real reason that we have it is because those magical fucks kept on dicking with us until we started sticking metal nails everywhere.
right.
And,
I mean, that
well,
could be why you only see like cryptid stuff out in the woods far away from society now.
exactly.
Oh
And that would
yeah.
be the idea that it's everything that went bump in the night is still there. It's just way away from society where there isn't constant moving water, where there isn't a complete wash of silver and iron everywhere.
What if that's like a pseudo pseudo barrier for like the cryptid creatures, and all of us?
Yep.
Because I mean, if you look at maps and stuff, it's there's a lot of wilderness out there that they could be, hanging out in, and we take into account all the people who get lost in public parks and forest
Mm-hmm.
campsites and stuff.
Mhm. I
And
mean,
the
I take care of really old people. They used to say that's why people built up societies was to get away from things. So,
yep. And then you add in the fact that the number of stories of these encounters in civilization fell off drastically as iron nails, indoor plumbing, and all of these aspects became more and more common, it just becomes an interesting modern fantasy idea of all this shit's real. It's just we've forgotten.
Dude,
Yeah.
you're tripping me out, man. I'm
I
getting
mean,
scared.
and if you look to more or I said royal, I can't say it. But, out in the middle of nowhere places.
Rural.
Rural.
Yeah, speech
Rural.
impediment, it's not coming out.
I don't even know how to say it. So you're good. It's
Oh,
rural.
But if you like out in the Appalachia or people who live in those they still believe in stuff like that.
Yep.
They
Dude,
still very much.
don't they say that there's vampires out in Appalachia?
They don't talk about what it is. You just don't look up in the trees. Don't leave your house after dark. Everybody has certain traditions they do to keep things out of their houses. If you hear your name, no, you didn't. If you hear yelling, no, you didn't.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck that, dude. I'm not going out there. I'm
Well,
gonna stick out here where at least you hear somebody saying, "Hey, motherfucker," and then all of a sudden there's a pop, 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 and you at least like you know where to go. It's not a
yeah.
"Hey, Adam," and it's like, "Oh shit, what the fuck was that?"
But yeah,
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah. Even like Native Americans and stuff like that still live on reservations, and they still have the same thing. Like, don't whistle at night. Don't if someone's calling your name at night, you don't go outside.
yep. Like I said, it's an interesting modern fantasy idea that if
Yeah.
I was a good writer, I would absolutely take that idea and run with it because I think people would find it pretty fucking creepy. The idea that all of our modern conveniences, yeah, they're convenient, but what if they had an additional meaning?
I don't know. My whole view on all this, I guess supernatural kind of stuff or anything is, I tell because people ask if I believe it. I'm like, I'm not dumb enough to believe I know everything.
Mhm.
Like, there's lots of things people used to think weren't real, and then later science proved it is. So I'm not definitively saying yes or no to any of it because, you could look like a dumbass and they actually find Bigfoot later, I don't know.
I think there's a lot of things that are extremely unlikely.
Yes.
I also know that I've had a handful of experiences that I'm going, fuck if I know what the hell this was. I just know this was weird as shit. And I
Yeah.
can't explain it.
Yeah. Like that, I think everybody's had at least one or two experiences where you're just like, what the fuck? like you couldn't explain it yourself and you're like, well, either I'm hallucinating or weird shit happened. Okay.
Yeah, I think I've told you guys about the Taniyama story before, right?
The
I don't know. Start telling the story and maybe I'll remember.
Okay, so I went to Japan when I was in college and went with a bunch of friends during a travel course. We went to Fushimi Inari. It's one of the sacred sites within Japan. And it's this massive temple complex with these beautiful lacquered torii gates, which are the wooden arches that you'll see when you see pictures of Japan. You know the gates that I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So it has those just completely lining the path up the mountain. And as you go up, there's a bunch of side paths to various other shrines. Because if you have one massive shrine on a mountain, you're probably going to have a bunch of other shrines off to the side. This one does. So my friends and I were walking up Fushimi Inari. Along the main path, we saw one of these side paths. We decided to take a look at the little shrine off to the side, and we go look. Really pretty. We saw a path leading out the back of that shrine, and we went, oh, there's probably another small shrine back there. And we'll just check out the small shrines and then head back to the main path. So we follow that. There is another little shrine. It's rather lovely. There's a path leading out the back. So we follow that. And we end up following these paths. For a while, it ends up being no shrines, but there's still this path that is fairly well worn as we're walking, and then it spits us out onto a road on the back end of the mountain somehow. We look around, and we can see probably about 200 plus feet down either way. We look one way, we look the other way. We're trying to decide how we're going to go. We look back the way that we came, and the fairly clear path wasn't really a clear path from that side of things. And from where we could see, we saw a shit ton of branching paths that we didn't see as we're walking down it. Which makes us go, okay, we don't really want to go down that and just end up lost on a Japanese mountain. So we're trying to figure out how to get back to the main path. And we're looking one way, looking the other as we're talking. We look down the left way, then we look down the right way, and as we're going out, we have no clue where the fuck to go. A man talks from right behind us, down the left path, which we had just fucking looked down. And like I said, we could see at least 100 to 200 feet down the path with absolutely nothing. No person, no area for them to really hide away unless they were just walked out of the woods. But we turn around and there's an old dude standing like 5 feet away from us. Old dude said, couldn't help but hear that you guys are a bit lost and you're trying to find your way back up to the mountain. I can show you how to get back up to the main path. I can lead you up to the top. We decide, fuck it. We have nothing else that we can rely on right now.
They will follow the mysterious dude.
We'll follow the dude who just appeared out of fucking nowhere.
I'm glad you didn't die.
So we start following the dude, and as he's showing us the way, he's kind of filtering to the front and back as we're going, talking to each of us. So when he talked to all of us, he spoke in English. When he spoke to me, he spoke in English. What I didn't know at the time, because I wasn't listening into other people's conversations, but what I found out later is that to the people that were fluent in Japanese, he just spoke Japanese. Except when he was talking to all of us. But when he was talking to just them, he just spoke Japanese. He didn't ask if they spoke Japanese. He just spoke Japanese. To me, he just spoke English. He never asked if I knew any Japanese. I didn't. He just spoke English. There were a handful of us that knew smatterings of Japanese. They weren't fluent, but they knew Japanese here and there. And to those people, he spoke the perfect mixture of English and Japanese, so that they understood throughout the entire time that they were talking to him exactly what he was saying, and he never said a word that they did not know.
You found a magic person.
Again, this is entirely without asking any of us if we knew Japanese, if we didn't know Japanese, or how much Japanese we knew. So this was happening the entire time that we're being led up. He just keeps on filtering back and forth, talking to all of us, kind of giving us encouragement and telling us about Fushimi and Ari. Kind of interesting dude. Knew a lot. So as we're going, people start getting tired at various points, and he goes, okay, so if you see this path right here, you can go down this path and you can get down to the main path and head down the mountain. And he does this several points as various people break off from our group and head down the mountain. Some of us make it to the top, some of us don't. All of us end up kind of going down the mountain in groups of 2s and 3s or by ourselves. And every person that he directed down the mountain was able to get down to the main path perfectly fine. There was nothing fishy about that. So the weird part was, I was one of the people that when I went down the mountain, I was going down the mountain by myself. So I'm walking down the mountain, and as I'm walking down the mountain, last I saw Taniyama was up at the top of Fushimi Inari. And I'm walking down the mountain. That guy walking up the mountain looks a lot like Taniyama. But I saw him up the top. Taniyama stops and has a chat with me. Again, speaking just English. Never going into any Japanese, just speaking English to me. And starts telling me more about Fushimi Inari and telling me about how far I am from the bottom of the mountain and where there's drinks and stuff to buy as souvenirs and stuff like that. And then he continues walking up the mountain, and I continue walking down the mountain. At no point does he pass by me as I'm heading down the mountain. So, a couple moments go by. Taniyama's walking up the mountain. Taniyama stops and talks to me. We have a chat. Then he says his goodbyes and continues up the mountain. I continue walking down the mountain. A little bit goes by. Taniyama never passes me going down the mountain. Taniyama's walking up the mountain. This happens about 5 to 6 times as I'm walking down the mountain. That Taniyama will be walking up the mountain towards me, stop and have a chat with me, and then continue up the mountain. At no point do I see him ever come down the mountain, always up the mountain. So I get down to the bottom, and most of the group is already down there. And I kind of go up to them and I say, okay, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but when you were coming down the mountain, did any of you see Taniyama? And the first person goes, I thought I was going crazy. Thank fuck you said something. Turns out, as he was walking down the mountain, at least 5 to 6 times, he saw Taniyama walking up the mountain. Taniyama had a chat with him, continued up the mountain. He continued down the mountain. Taniyama then walked up the mountain, said hello to him again, and then continued up 5 or 6 times to him as well. Turns out every single motherfucker in our group saw Taniyama 5 to 6 times as we were walking down the mountain. Always Taniyama walking up the mountain. Then we started talking about when we were walking down the mountains, and the times that we saw Taniyama made no fucking sense. Because it seemed like it was almost impossible for it not to be that 2 of us were saying that we talked to Taniyama at about the same time. At different parts of the mountain.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if it sounded like this to anyone else, but you kind of sound like a demonic robot drowning in a river. I mean, it's
Adam,
great for the story.
Did I sound that way to you, Adam? Or chat? Chat.
Yeah, I might want to ask chat.
Because Adam's muted.
Yeah, I think he might have walked away. I mean, it's great for the story.
Okay, so what was the question?
Did I sound like a demonic robot drowning in a river of lava?
Well, prior to when I asked what was going on, I don't know. I was
Okay.
I was grabbing my grub. I
Okay.
apologize.
So, chat, if I sounded strange, let me know, because I have absolutely no ability to hear
Okay.
myself.
Well, I'm going to mute and like turn off my headphones and turn them back on, so maybe it's just me.
Okay. Because I don't currently sound that way to you, Adam, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. But yeah, so that was the Taniyama experience. Makes no fucking sense to me. Also, found out as we were talking about this that Taniyama means Mountain Valley. Do with that what you fucking want. But yeah, it was a very strange experience. I have no clue how to explain where this old dude came from, how the fuck he kept on getting down the mountain and then walking up the mountain faster than I was walking down the mountain, because I was walking at a decent clip down and I wasn't really lingering anywhere. So it was a very strange experience.
Yeah, it was just me, which is great because like right at like about 2 minutes after you started the story, it started doing that and it added a very spooky feel
Okay.
to the story.
Is your
But
equipment all right, or?
it's just my regular sound canceling headphones. I don't know why it did that. It's never done that before. But when you started talking, your voice was doing it too. So I'm like, that's probably my headphones. And I turned them off, turned them back on. It's working fine now.
Okay.
But your story, are you done with it?
Well, that was the Taniyama. And yeah, it was very strange. Like I said, can't explain it. All I know is that I had this experience. It makes no sense.
You met a mountain ghost person. Like that ass. I don't understand any other reasoning behind that.
Yeah, the running joke between the friends I was with and I for the rest of the trip was we went to Japan, we went to sacred site in Japan, we had a spiritual experience, all of us are connected now.
Dude, Willow had a weird experience, kind of like the beginning of your story, you know, with all the weird paths.
Mm-hmm.
There is a very famous like wooden area with a bridge in Texas, which I'm not going to say specifically which one because I'm not sure it's actually legal for her to go out there so much. But her and her friend group used to love going out there. We in my family, we just like spooky shit. Like I said, I'm not going to say I believe anything or I don't believe anything, but we like spooky shit. And Willow's one of those weirdos who like to go just hang out in those areas. And so the weird thing is she is the only one in the group of like 30 people who could easily walk around this forest and not get lost because they went to a specific spot every time, had a little fire, you know, it's a safe place to do that kind of stuff without catching the whole woods on fire. It's just this weird little circle area out in the woods where you can do that. And she's the only one that could always find her way. Never an issue. She would go all the way to the parking lot area and all the way back, and she would have to make that trip like 20, 30 times a night with other people so they wouldn't get lost. And if you know us, we all have ADHD. We don't have the best sense of direction, but she's good at it. And she's told me once before there's this weird part where she feels like there's a path, but there's not one. So she just always ignores it. And then occasionally she would see the path. And when she comes back the other way, the path's not there. And she's like, okay, well, she thinks it's just kind of dark and she's seeing shit, right? Well, other people had started seeing the path too, though. And one time she got a phone call from a guy who tried to make it without her because, you know, he kind of is an older dude than her and felt like, you know, kind of like a bitch boy constantly calling a 19-year-old to go find him. So he tried to do it by himself. And he's like, I have no idea where I am. There's spider webs everywhere. I just saw a squirrel nailed to a tree. I can't find my way back. And it was freaking out. So she went out and she just started exploring around the woods until she found him. And they walked back, and when they got back on trail, she realized it's that weird path that she sometimes, like, she's either ignoring when it's there or she's missing it or something. And so on the way back, they were walking, and she turned around and went, "Yeah, he went down that weird path that we keep," and then it wasn't there. And everybody's like, "What the?" So they went up and down the path trying to find it, and they couldn't find it. It wasn't there. And the guy's like, "Where the hell did I get lost at?"
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go back out there again. He was like, "It was spooky. I kept feeling like someone was following me. There was like fucking squirrels nailed to trees and giant cobwebs going all the way across the trees and everything." He's like, "That was some spooky shit," which this place is supposedly haunted, but Willa said she never really felt anything out there except for that weird path that would sometimes be there and sometimes wouldn't. But she never went down it on purpose, just that one time trying to find the dude that got lost.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. It's like there's like a time warp out there or something, or like a portal or something.
I was about to tell a story that's related to that idea.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Because-
We're walking into a time
Time
warp.
warp.
Yeah.
Now I have Rocky Horror Picture songs in my head.
Oh no.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But yeah, so when I was in high school, and I ended up having to go back up north, so I went to two different high schools, depending on the year. Two main different high schools, depending on the year. So this was the year that I went to the second high school. I was living with my father. My father and I don't get along very much. So I would constantly go for walks just to get the fuck away from him and be able to go let off some steam. So I'd wander around, and I knew the area extremely well because I would constantly be going for walks, and it was the area that I grew up in when I was younger. So I knew major landmarks, and I knew where I was by knowing, oh yeah, I'm this direction of this street or that direction of this street. So I know that in order to get from certain areas, I'd have to cross certain streets. And if I did, I would know the entire stretch and be good to go. Could always find my way. So I started off on one of my walks, just blowing off steam. And I head out one direction. And as I'm walking, I'm just wandering around. But I know roughly where I am the entire time. Then, as I'm walking, there's a fog bank that just kind of rolls into me. And I keep walking because I can still feel the sidewalk underneath me. It gets very thick fog, though. And then I notice that the feel of the sidewalk has kind of changed underneath my feet. And I walk out of the fog bank, and rather than it being the normal cement slabs for the sidewalk, it's now a cobbled sidewalk. There are sections that are cobbled sidewalks. I don't remember any section of cobbled sidewalk anywhere near where I was. Also, this is an area that is apparently very fucking green, an area where I don't remember there being this much green space. I keep walking, there's houses, but they're sunk back a fair distance from the road. Some of them have a light in them, some of them don't. Most of the lights kind of weak and flickering. Keep walking. And everything's just this very strange, I have no clue where the fuck I am. Everything feels off Everything feels weird. I have no clue what's going on. I just need to keep walking. I'll figure it out because I know this area well enough that eventually I'll see some landmark that I know. So I keep walking. And eventually I see another fog bank. I walk through the fog bank. And I feel a change from the cobble back to cement slabs. And I'm going, okay, keep walking, walk out of the fog bank. And when I come out of the fog bank, I know exactly where I am. There's only one major problem. The direction that I started out walking and the turns that I took, there's no way that I would be where I am after walking out of that fog bank. And if I had mistaken a turn, I would have had to have crossed a specific road that I at no point crossed. And it would have been impossible for me not to recognize the road if I had crossed it. I end up walking to make sure that I am where I know I am, because I know where a landmark is, that there's no way that I could be wrong if I end up at that landmark. I arrive at the landmark. The fuck happened? I start walking home from there. I still have no clue how the fuck I got from where I was to where I ended up without crossing that road, because that road runs at least like 30 miles. And I know probably every inch of that 30 miles. At no point did I cross it. There's no way to go around it. I would have had to. So I just walk into this fog bank where everything feels fucking weird. Everything's off. And then I walk out and it's back to normal in a place that I cannot be.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, I try not to for sure anything or for not for sure anything, because they're still doing things with different parallel universes and dimensions and all that stuff. So like, you never know. I heard this theory that time is a weird is kind of like an onion. Then there's spots where the walls are thinner so you can see through them and stuff like that, like for explanations for ghosts and there's a lot of stuff. I don't know. I do know weird shit happens because if you work at a place like memory care or assisted living or hospitals or something, weird shit happens. And then you're just, I take the point of view of my ancestors of I didn't see that. My ongoing thing at work was weird shit happens and we move on. Come on. We're just going to keep working. Like that didn't happen. Like one of my most annoying ones that happen more often or not, like a totally locked up empty room, every faucet in that entire room would be turned on.
Mm-hmm.
Like shower, sinks, everything. Because, they have like little kitchens and bathrooms and, their apartments. Every single faucet would be on. One time it was coming out into the hallway through a wall. So we unlocked it and we went in there and like every faucet was on. We were turning them all off. We're trying to figure out where the water is coming from. Because, the faucets are on, but they're going down the drain. We never did find why there was water in the hallway. Like there was no leaking or water on the floor. We still don't know. And I was like, weird shit happens when we move on. Just keep going. Just keep doing your job. All the water's off now. If you see more water going into the hallway, call maintenance.
Yeah, that's still how the hell do you sleep?
That's like when I was working at the prison. So you guys all know that I worked at a prison for a period of time.
Wait a minute, you worked at a prison, sir?
I was a correction officer, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I knew this.
And I was a correction officer at one of the oldest prisons west of the Mississippi. It, I think, might be the oldest prison west of the Mississippi that is still operational.
mm. Yeah, I still don't have a joke that I can west of the Mississippi. If it was east of the Mississippi, I might have had a joke.
Mm-hmm.
But
But yeah, it's a very old prison. The oldest part of the prison, or the oldest parts of the prison, are industry. And then there's a section that's just known as the tunnels, which is this massive network of snaking hallways underneath the prison that if you had the right keys, you could get to any part of the prison without going outside, without coming above ground. You could just walk there. So one part of working as a correction officer was doing the checks to make sure that everything is in proper order. One part of that is industry checks, which whoever was on A team would go out to industry buildings. They'd go through every single building in industry. They'd check all the buildings that have been closed down. This prison is old enough that it has a section of track from the early 20s because the prison used to be coal powered.
coal power. Oh shit.
So it had an old section of railroad track that is no longer connected to anything that ran onto the prison grounds for the rail coal car to come in and deliver coal to the prison. And there's the old coal storage building at the prison. It's been locked up for the past 50, 60 years. But you still have to make sure that the doors are locked. You have to peek in through the windows, make sure that no one's in there. So you go around, check all the buildings, look into buildings that are sealed up, all that good shit. So as I'm doing industry checks with a more senior officer, we're going through, and when you're going into the industry buildings, you're checking to make sure that no offender has tried to hide away, that there's nothing squirreled away weapon-wise or anything like that. And also, you turn off fans and coffee pots and shit like that to save energy and prevent fires. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So there's one section of industry where you enter the building through the front door, and the building kind of goes in this... It starts out almost as like a telephone pole style entry where you have the main entry room, you have a secondary room, and then there's this big circular area. So you go around the big circular area, then you come back to the secondary entrance, and you come out the main entrance, and you leave. That layout kind of makes sense. Think kind of like a drawing of a light bulb.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
So we enter the first entry room. Everything's good on there. We turn off fans. We turn off teapots. We enter the next big room, that secondary entrance room, which is a big work area. And we go around that entire work area, checking underneath tables, all that good shit. We turn off coffee pots, fans, hot plates, all that shit. And the entire time this is done almost in complete silence, other than the sound of fans until we turn them off. So we go through the rest of the building, and check's going perfectly fine. We're turning off everything that needs to be turned off. We don't find anything unusual. Of course, there's no one hiding there because these checks are always done right after a count's done. So we just had every cell hole confirm that everyone that should be in the cell hole is in the cell hole. So we should be good. And we go around the rest of the building. Perfectly fine. We come back through to that secondary entrance hall. And we start walking towards the exit because we've already checked this room. We get about halfway to the exit when we both stop and look at each other and ask, do you hear that? Because both of us, about the same time, started hearing singing. So we started trying to figure out where the fuck the singing was coming from. We're looking around, we're getting closer to it. We can tell that it's not just singing, but there's music playing behind it, so it has to be a radio or something like that. But then we get closer and we can hear it a bit better, and it's an old fucking song. It's maybe from like the 1940s, if it is that recent. Kind of that right before or about the same time as Big Band, where you had those solo artists with still a good size band following them, but not quite full big band.
Like trumpets and stuff?
There were some trumpets, but it was mainly like woodwinds and strings were playing with the song because it was meant to be this kind of soulful, soft song following underneath this woman singing. So we look all over the place and we're getting closer and closer and closer. Finally, behind a bit of piled up shit, we find this old, like 1920s radio that is somehow still working. It's plugged in. We pull the plug rather than trying to figure out how to turn it off. And you know how old radios have capacitors in them?
Yeah.
So when you unplug an old radio, it might continue playing for like a second or two, but it's winding down as it continues. So it goes from this volume that it was playing at, and then it kind of goes softer and softer and softer as the capacitor drains, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we unplug this radio. It stays at the same exact volume. It finishes the song, and then it just off. There's no quieting. There's nothing like that. Also, again, like I said, we had gone through this entire room. We had turned off everything. If this radio had been playing when we went through the first time, we would have heard the motherfucker. But nothing. And then we hear it, we find it, and we unplug it, and it continues singing. We both look at each other. We decide to get the fuck out of there. We leave that section of industry. We lock up everything behind us as we leave. And we just kind of go, yep, that was a thing.
Yep.
Let's just not go back there, right? Yep, okay, good. We're both in agreement. Again, it was one of those things that is I don't know what the fuck happened here. I don't like that I don't know what the fuck happened here. I'm just going to move on. Hello, Sora.
Hello.
Hey.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I got wrangled into carrying a Christmas tree, so I'm very late. I'm very sorry.
Not a problem at all. But yeah, that we've just gotten onto the topic of weird shit that we can't really explain.
Spooky shit.
Yep.
Oh, we totally have a poltergeist at my work.
Nice.
See, we had some at my job too.
Like we have a cupboard that it likes to open sometimes, and there's a cat that's meowing in the walls, which I think it's the poltergeist. It's great. But we live in harmony. It's fine. Nothing ever goes
Yeah.
wrong. It's just it's there, and it knows we're there, and it's good.
Yeah, and one of
I
the
love how chill you are about it.
That's great.
in
I
one
think
of the cell holes, every time that we had someone new, we had to explain when you're in the cell hole in the middle of the night, this shower will just start running at some point. Ignore it.
Yeah.
It'll turn off. Just leave it be. Continue doing whatever the fuck you're doing.
The poltergeist needed a shower. Dude, my favorite thing about my last job, because weird shit happens at any caregiving job I do, I swear to God. But the one that the floor everyone complained about is the one that made the least sense possible, because the way it was modeled was like, so the fourth floor, which is the highest floor on AL side, is like the people who need the least help, right? So, like, they're just older people who don't want to live alone, but they don't really need you to go in there very often. We like change out their trash and, do occasional checks on some of them, but for the most part, you don't really do anything with them. So, whoever gets that floor is the easiest floor. You do some cleanup, you clean up the desk, you might like sweep the floors or something, and then you're just waiting for phone calls the whole night. Because if people needed you, they would call on the phone we carried with us, and we would just be like, okay, be there in a second. Easiest floor ever. Most people should want that floor, right? But it was the floor nobody wanted to take because it was the one that weird shit happened on all the time. Like, it wasn't like, oh, occasionally you saw something out of the corner of your eye, or like the faucets turned on, or the doors locked that weren't supposed to be locked. It was like all the time. My favorite thing is at night, very quiet place, right? Elderly people are very, if you're noisy, they will let you know.
Yep.
So it is very quiet, and you could hear the people upstairs walking around, right? So like when the caregivers are doing the rounds or taking out the trash or going to a room, you can hear it. I could also figure out if someone has fallen because I could hear it, and then you'd hear footsteps running, and I'm like, oh, need to go upstairs, because I was the one that picked everyone up. I'm like the biggest chick that worked there at night, and we had no males at the time. So I'm the one that was put in hold of like picking up everyone off the floor. And my favorite thing is I would go around and check on floors, especially if it was new women, because it can be weird working at night by yourself if you're not used to it. So I'd go around checking on people, and someone was like I heard it so many times that it's like the people upstairs are being really noisy when they're walking, like it's gonna bother the residents. And I'm like, honey, think about where you are. They're like, what? And I'm like, above us is the roof. You're on the top floor. And they're like, what the fuck? I can hear walking. And I'm like, it's Angel? I don't know. And I would just be like, it happens. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Or like several times when I worked that floor, the med techs, like the people who did all the meds, and they kind of ran nighttime because we didn't have managers. They carry around like tons of necklaces that have all the keys for every floor on them. And the med carts, because med carts are locked up tight.
Yep.
There's like a key for every fucking drawer. So so you could hear them coming whenever a med tech was on the floor, because you'd hear jingle, jingle, jingle.
Yeah.
I even had to carry the keys once in a while because no med techs would show up for the night, and somebody had to have the keys. And they're like, "You've been here the longest here. We know you're not stealing meds. Here's the keys." So I know the sound because I've carried them around, and you can put them in your pockets, you can put them around your neck, you can hold them. They make noise no matter what. You could hear like the med tech coming, and you'd start looking around, and nobody's on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what the hell? So people would not want to work that floor at night. They would freak out. They would like abandon the floor. And I'm like, no, you have to go. Nothing happens. And they're like, I had 6 residents screaming at me because I'm knocking on their door and I've been sitting for 2 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
I never knocked on their door. And I'm like, yeah, that happens. Just tell them they're hallucinating and to go back to bed. And they're like, 6 different people. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Nothing bad's gonna happen to you. It's just noisy, okay? It's that cat that's by that one door. We had this 6-foot like African statue of a cat next to a person's door, and I used to tell people it's just cursed. It's fine.
I mean, for all you know. Yes.
And they're like, Crystal, that does not help the new people. Quit telling them that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's not a big deal though, but it was funny because that should be the floor everyone's fighting to get on because you don't have to do hardly shit the entire night. It's like the easiest job in the building, and people would fight you to not be on that floor. We had one girl sit down on the floor and start crying when she was told she had to work 4th floor. She's like, it's scary up there, even with all the lights on. And I'm like, I'll take the floor.
I don't want to go.
It always amuses me the areas that end up being the creepiest areas during night shift jobs. One of the ones at the prison was the drug rehab program section, which smallest section of the prison, only had 24 offenders tops. Also, all those offenders would rat the ever-living shit out of each other. So it was the best behaved section of the prison because they knew if they did anything, every other motherfucker in that hall would immediately squeal on them. Because part of the program was you had to tell shit, and if you were found to have kept shit secret, then you would get kicked out of the program.
Oh.
And some of those offenders, the program was part of the conditions for their earlier release. So every offender would squeal like an absolute stuck pig about anything any of the other offenders did. The thing is that section of the prison was also constructed over the old seg, to the point where, remember how I mentioned the tunnels from earlier? How the tunnels were the oldest section of the prison?
Mm-hmm.
There was a door leading towards the drug rehab section that was labeled segregation.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Because the old seg used to be dubbed the hole. And it was stuck back there. A good chunk of it was underground. So the drug rehab program is built on top of that, using some of the same bits, but most of it is just built on top of.
Oof, that's just a lot of negative energy.
And then there's these weird hallways that go back behind the cells. That there was a door in the middle of the hall going back. So the cell hole, that one cell hole was split into 4 different holes. And then you had the top and bottom holes. So the top holes, they had a path that led from the left hole to the right hole. and the bottom hole had a path that led from the left hole to the right hole. That was all the way in the back of the cell hole.
Mhm.
So if you went halfway down that, on the top side, if you looked to your left, there was a door that had what would have been a 6-panel window that 5 of the panels had been completely opaqued. It looked like it, rather than glass, it was painted metal in the place of those. The 6th panel also looked like it was painted metal, but it had a hole that looked half cut, half melted in it.
Oh, okay.
That would be your only way to check that section of the hull. You'd have to look back there, and it's about the size of someone's forearm. And you had to peek back into that section of the hull, make sure that no one had broken out of the back of their cell. And the weird part was sometimes when you looked back there, there was a chair. Sometimes there wasn't a chair.
Schrodinger's chair.
And it wasn't like
swear-
it was some nights there was a chair and some nights there wasn't a chair. It was sometimes you'd have it be on and off nights. Sometimes you would walk by there the first 3 times and there's no chair. And then the 4th time, the chair is sitting in the middle of that weird back hallway with all the pipes facing the door. Sometimes it's facing away from the door. Sometimes it's just not there. And the only way to get to that strange hallway was through the door that you were looking through, which you don't even have the key for. That's kept by someone else at the prison. Or through the tunnels. And all the keys for that are also kept by someone else. In fact, the keys in order to get there are kept by 2 someone else's. So it wasn't even like you were able to go, oh yeah, it's just Smuckatelli decided to fuck with me. It was just sometimes you'd see a chair, sometimes you wouldn't see a chair. Ignore the fucking chair. Keep moving.
I swear in spooky stories, it's often chairs or doors. That's
Oh,
chairs or doors. That's because, like I said, me and my family just really like spooky things. One of the things I go to sleep to for a while there was like, those YouTube channels that do ghost stories.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
It became a long running joke in my family every time. Like one of them's like, the door was open, or all the doors were open, or all the doors slammed shut. Me and my kids would be like, a door. because there would be like these stories, creepypasta stories, where like there's a job that paid like $100 an hour to watch this building at night, and then they like all the doors slam shut and they never go back. I'm like, fuck, for that much money, I would totally just say, okay, doors, do your thing. Like, the
then
doors
they
could
went
open.
into the kitchen and all the cabinet doors were open.
Right?
Oh
And
no!
I never went back to that job. I'd be over here like the doors could be doing a mamba. I would stay in the job. So every time in a spooky story, a door came up. Me and the girls are always like, a door. Or a chair, because like the chair would move, or the chair wouldn't be there, or the chair flew across the room. That one's a little more understandable. You don't want to stay in a place with people throwing shit at you.
Meanwhile, you're just going,
Unless you get
No.
hazard pay.
yeah,
Right.
let's get hazard pay. And also, meanwhile, you're just going, no. What you do is you get a boom box, and you go, no. You're slamming doors. It is completely arrhythmically. Here, let me turn on this song. Shake, 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 senora, shake. Slam it
like,
in time, you fuck! Slam it in time!
or you like see those posts online where they're like, if you got paid $80 an hour to clean a cemetery, would you do it? It's like, yes.
Yeah.
Like,
To be, I'm
even
not
if that
scared.
cemetery,
Cemeteries are. I find them peaceful. I quite like them. I like
yeah,
watching. I've watching the videos. Speaking of cleaning cemeteries, of people who choose like an old headstone, like from 100 years ago, and they will clean it and tell you about the person who's buried
yeah,
underneath.
Yep.
Those are nice. I'm with you on that
yeah,
one. $80 an hour, $100 an hour to just clean,
yeah.
go through that. Yeah, 100%.
Dude, even if the
Maybe.
cemetery's haunted as shit, I'm doing it. Like, because like they're dead people. What are they gonna do to you? Like, um, like okay, there's someone walking around the tombstone. Yeah. I always find that funny when people are so freaked out. Like, why? Because, like I said, even at my job where I know weird shit is actually happening, I was like, weird shit happens, so we move on. Keep doing your job. Like, I would have to go to other floors to pep talk other people because they're freaking out. And I'm like, hey, if you're not scared of the living old people, don't be scared of the dead ones, okay? Just keep going about your shit when shit happens. And it's just like, I did that for a lot less. So if you're like all these ghost stories where they're like, I got paid an absurd amount, but then, something slightly kind of weird happened and I never went back to work again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that couldn't be me.
Also, these stories are just making me think about have you guys ever seen Wally's Wonderland?
The movie?
Is that the Nicolas Cage one?
Yes, it's the Nick Cage movie.
No.
I didn't see it, but I saw like previews and stuff for it.
It is gloriously weird. I fucking love that movie. Do you guys want to hear what the premise of Wally's Wonderland is?
This is like
Sure.
a Chuck E. Cheese thing.
It's
Kind of.
a Chuck E. Cheese thing. So there's Nick Cage, who's in an area, his car breaks down, he doesn't have the money to pay for its repair. He gets approached by a strange man that says he'll pay for his complete car repair and a fair bit of money on top if he cleans the old, effectively Chuck E. Cheese type location. It was one of those animatronic party venues. Nick Cage agrees. So he gets locked into the building to clean it all night. The animatronics are murderous. It's Nick Cage just murking the shit out of evil animatronics as he cleans the place, pounds energy drinks, and plays pinball. That is the entire fucking movie. It is. He will like clean the bathroom, and it'll be a very short mini montage of Nick Cage cleaning a bathroom in exquisite detail, showing him scrubbing toilets, cleaning urinals, cleaning the sinks, filling up garbage bags, dragging them out, and he'll finish the job and then like have to use the toilet. So he goes into one of the stalls, takes a piss, he comes out, and there's a message written in blood on the mirror. And he just kind of he doesn't say a fucking thing throughout most of the movie. He just sees the message, and it's just this. As he goes to clean the blood off the mirror, animatronic starts attacking him. He stomps the shit out of it in extreme, exquisite violence. And then he just starts bagging up the body and throws it out, comes back, cleans the bathroom. Then his watch alarm goes off. He goes into the break room. He pounds a shit ton of energy drinks, plays pinball, and dances for a few minutes, and then comes out and starts cleaning the next section. That is the entire movie. It is he cleans a section, an animatronic attacks him, he murders the animatronic, he goes back to cleaning, then he takes a break, having his mini dance party, pinball, and energy drink party.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up because, when Five Nights at Freddy came out, Chris got it mixed up with the Nick Cage one, and he's like, it's just an excuse for Nicolas Cage to have another movie. And I was like, he's not part of this movie. And so I Googled it. And yeah, there was one. And I looked up the previews and I showed Chris, and he's like, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. And I'm like, yeah, no, this came out a little while ago. The Five Nights at Freddy's just came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh. It's basically the same thing, isn't it? I'm like, I think whoever made Nicolas Cage one just was doing it, but it's not an actual Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a totally different name. So I just saw that.
Yeah, and the thing is that Wally's Wonderland isn't Five Nights at Freddy's because Five Nights at Freddy's is meant to be scary and the robots or the animatronics are all fucked up and they're nearly unstoppable. You can just hide and survive.
They're also dead
No.
children.
Yeah, it's bodies of dead kids or souls or something. I don't know.
Yep, whereas
There's a lot of lore.
Wally's Wonderland has some of that same lore, but then it has Nick Cage just murdering them. And it has Nick Cage murdering them so ruthlessly and so efficiently, you're going, holy shit, this is a horror movie by these animatronics of what happens if you meet Nick Cage. This is not a horror movie of, look at these animatronics fucking up and murdering other people. No, it is, if you're an animatronic and you see Nick Cage, run. Don't try to murder this man. Run. Flee.
Well, of course, if it's Nick Cage,
be taken lightly.
Yeah, of course, if it's Nick Cage, it's not going to be him getting his ass kicked by something. I mean, one of my favorite Nicolas Cage scenes ever is just so random. What is that movie with the bees? Wicker Man?
Yes.
Oh, not the bees.
Not the bees!
No, my favorite scene is just out of nowhere, Nicolas Cage in a bear suit chasing a woman. Like, it doesn't fit in the scene whatsoever. Like, he's running away and trying to hide from them, and all of a sudden, it's just a clip of him in a bear suit chasing a chick, and then it goes back to, like, the normal, what was happening. And I'm just like, do you want to bet that Nicolas Cage just went, no, I have to chase someone in a bear suit in this movie somewhere. Like, this has to happen.
No, doesn't Nick Cage punch the woman when he's in the bear suit?
Yes.
I could have sworn he punches her too.
Yes,
probably. Like, it's just a weird random scene that makes no sense at all. Like, where did he get the bear suit? When did he put on the bear suit? Why is the bear suit here? Like, it just happens. And then it goes back to, like, the normal him trying to get away from them plot. And I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? I feel like I did drugs.
The thing that is glorious about Nick Cage movies is that there's no such thing as an actually bad Nick Cage movie. There's really poorly written Nick Cage movies. There's really poorly acted Nick Cage movies. There's no Nick Cage movie that you watch and you go, I was bored the entire time.
No,
because
it's just
every single fucking Nick Cage movie has Nick Caging the ever-living shit out of something.
And it's just like, even if it's like a really serious movie, all of a sudden there would just be this one really weird ass scene, and then it goes back to being normal, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
yep.
Because he can play some serious, like, real roles occasionally.
Oh, yeah.
He throws you off. He throws you off with that.
Some fantastic roles. And like Matchstick Men. Matchstick Men as a whole, really fucking good movie. And it's one that's meant to be taken seriously throughout. It also contains the, have you ever been dragged into an alley and beaten until you pissed blood? And you're just going, like, what the fuck, Nick Cage?
Yeah, like, he'll be totally normal through a whole movie, and then he'll just throw something weird in there. I think he has a thing with all his contracts where he has to have one really weird scene.
And the way that line was delivered, you're watching the movie and you're going, Nick, was that in the script, Nick? Or did you just decide to yell at someone and ask if they've ever been dragged into an alley and beaten until they pissed blood? What is the choice? Which way did this go, Nick? Tell me. I need to know.
You're not strong enough to know.
I seriously have that theory that he just has it in his contract that in every movie he just has to have one really weird ass scene, and they have to keep it in the movie.
That's why I'm really excited for the next movie, because there's a new Nick Cage movie coming out.
Of course there is.
And the premise of the movie is that Nick Cage is appearing in everyone's dreams.
Yeah.
Like as Nick Cage, or he's like a bad guy.
His
character
is appearing in everyone's dreams.
Like all over the planet.
Yep. And
yeah.
It starts off with like fairly mundane. Hey, I've seen you in my dreams. And then it's like his dream, the version of him in their dreams starts doing fucked up things. So they start taking it out on him. And it's just one of those movies that, again, it's a Nick Cage movie that I'm going, I need to see this fucker. I need to see this movie. I have not been this excited to see a movie in fucking ages. I need to see Nick Cage just appearing in people's dreams to fuck with them.
Not excited since the Marvels.
Such
Which
a
is-
shit movie, that.
Which is going to be a landmark film. It's amazing.
A landmark film.
Hmm.
Disney has never lost so much money in one go.
I think it looked kind of cute. It's too bad that everybody can't act in that movie. I would have liked to see it.
People can't act in the movie. The writers couldn't write in the movie. From what I hear, cinematography is kind of okay.
Well, it's like it's with what's her face's first movie, Captain Marvel's first movie. It's like when you hear like other people talk about like the reviews and the main thing, but normal people reviews. A lot of the focus is on the cat, the alien cat, and that's not a good sign. Like to say, "Oh, I love the alien cat. That was the surprise part of the movie, and it stole the show for me," is one thing. To say, "Yeah, the best part of this movie for me is the cat," is not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so tell me more about this Nick Cage movie.
No, that's pretty much what we know so far.
Yeah, the premise is that, like I said, he is appearing in everyone's dreams, at least in an area. It might be around the entire world. And
Oh no! Hey, have you ever seen a weird anime called Paprika?
This sounds
again?
familiar.
In passing.
I think it's a movie about dreams. Movies about dreams always trip
Oh
me
yeah.
out.
what was the
Yeah.
anime name again? I didn't hear it.
Paprika.
Paprika.
Oh, yeah. The Ghibli movie.
Is it a Ghibli movie?
Yeah.
They make
Paprika,
good movies.
Almost positive is Ghibli. Let me quickly double check.
No, this is an adult movie.
Oh, am I thinking?
Gave
There's-
me nightmares.
No, it's not
One-
one of the people.
Oh, I'm
worked
thinking
on.
a different one. Yeah.
They worked on Ghibli movies, but it's not part of that studio.
Yeah, I was thinking a different one. I just pulled up the image of it, and yeah, I was thinking a different one.
No, because this is a adult. It's that time period. I like this animation. So this like 2000s, mid 2000s animation style is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Hey, really off topic, but I just got nauseous and it made me think about a Twitter post I saw earlier where this person's like, "This is my dinner. It only took 2 minutes to make." They're on a carnivore diet, but they were doing it completely raw.
Uh-oh.
So
Oh,
he had raw ground beef, chopped
Okay.
up butter, and chopped up cheese, and that was his dinner. I'm over here like, sir, you got ingredients and called it dinner. Uh, but yeah, he's in
Girl
the,
dinner.
that's a boy dinner. Um, but yeah, he's in the comments. Somebody's like, "What? Do you just get ground beef from the grocery store? Like, do you have a specific thing you suggest for eating raw ground beef?" And he's like, "Yeah, just get it from the supermarket. You don't have to worry about it. Just get like organic grass-fed beef, and the bacteria is not as bad as people make it out to be."
so I do have to ask because I have both Pop-Tart and Sora here. Am I right in thinking that girl dinner's just shitty ghetto tapas?
In a way, there's an ongoing joke that if women are single, they kind of just eat like raccoons at their refrigerator.
Mm,
Like we will eat like 4 pickles and a boiled egg from 2 days ago and be fine with that. That's our dinner.
that sounds good.
And it is true. It is true. Like if I
Or
don't have
my
other
dinner
people to
last
cook for,
night. My dinner last night, just for example, slice of bread, some margarine on it because I wanted the salt, and a hunk of red onion.
yeah.
Literally, just like, oh, I found some clean red onion in the fridge, and I just ate it like an apple with a piece of bread and
Oh my
margarine.
god, that is horrifying to you.
That's,
I
that's
cannot.
dinner.
Oh
it's
my
what we do.
god.
It's what
Great.
we
It made me.
do.
I didn't need anything more. I didn't need anything more. It was great.
Women, yeah,
That
women.
has to be one of the most former Soviet bloc meals I've heard of in a while.
But it's very true.
All you're missing is mayo.
Women in their natural
Like
state.
we had mayo.
Yeah, women in their natural state don't actually need to do all the fancy cooking and stuff. We do that for like the kids and the men in our lives. Like my grandma proves this to a point. My grandma, when my grandpa was alive, made 3 giant meals a day. She would go make it for breakfast, go to work, come home on her lunch break, make him a big lunch, go back to work, come home, and then make a big dinner. And when my grandpa died, this woman's over here eating pancakes on a stick for almost every meal. Like the corn dog pancake on a stick thing.
Mm-hmm,
Like or just ice cream. She would just eat some ice cream. Like she did not give two shits. She never cooked again. She just randomly ate whatever food happened to be there. And that's just the girl dinner is basically just when women are single and they live by themselves or they're not having to cook for anybody. We will just randomly dig in the fridge, eat whatever's there, and then walk off. And like we don't even usually use plates or anything.
So, girl dinner is tapas as imagined by a feral raccoon.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And if you want to fancy it up, you could put it on like a paper plate or something. You'll just have like 5 Cheetos, 2 pickles, a random onion, apparently. And whatever, you can stick it on a plate.
Say if you want to fancy it up and then continue that sentence with you can put it on a paper plate.
Onion. Get the hell out of here.
Like I'm not playing. I have seen both of my teenage daughters walking around just eating an onion like it's an apple.
If you want to be really fancy, then you bust out the good Dixies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And then their pinkies are raised as they're crunching into the onion. This is
Women get trained into doing the cooking and all that.
Can we get back to the poltergeists and ghosts in the house?
Women get trained into doing all the fancy cooking and all that kind of shit, or home down cooking or whatever, Otherwise, we would just be eating pit jars.
Crunching in an onion.
I'm saying that's
days,
in your natural state. That's in the natural state.
Some days, just opening a can of tuna is beyond my capabilities. So,
yeah,
Wait, hold on. Beyond so you couldn't
Yes.
open a can of tuna?
No, I couldn't. It's just some days you just
You're
like
too
fuck
tired.
it.
Wow.
I don't want to
Feral
open.
raccoon tapas. That's all you're telling
Open
me.
the
This is
can,
feral
grab the can, then
raccoon
mix it with
tapas.
some. No.
Okay,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we're live. Let's just okay. Look, no, there's SoraLuna after a day's work, and she's holding a can of tuna, and she's looking at the tab, and she's
What
Hey, some
tab?
of them need
Yeah.
can openers. Most of those need can openers, sir.
Oh, even worse. So okay,
mine-
so she
yeah.
has a can opener and she's like, "Yeah, I can't rotate this."
Yeah, exactly. No, because it's not just the rotating. Then you have to drain it, right? Whether you have it in oil or in water. You have to
Water,
drain
yeah.
it. Then you
You're
have
supposed
to
to
mix
you're
it with
supposed to
something.
drink that down.
Yeah! Hey,
No.
you said the onion was gross, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Potato,
And
potato,
then you have to season it if you'd like
crunchy onion,
something. And then
drinky oil
I
stuff.
then
She's
you have to get
tired. Leave her alone.
crackers or bread if you eat it with stuff and just yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for something that's really not that important. Just eat
Oh,
some
and then
boiled
you have
eggs.
to
Move on.
wash the can, right? Because you can't have it sitting there in the sink because then it smells the house. So you have to rinse it, wash it, put it in the recycling.
It goes in
All
the
these
garbage, and the garbage
no,
goes
we
outside,
recycle
Then
here.
your garbage can smells like tuna.
and that's outside though.
That's why it has a lid.
Yeah.
It just
We
spurts
recycle
out the
this house, so we
can.
have to wash it.
What are these barbarians doing with their?
They're
fucking-
eating feral raccoon tapas. We've been covering this.
Good lord! Hey,
A great thing is they have these tuna packet things now. Have you had those?
no.
No.
Okay, so if you go in the section where the tuna cans are, there's little packets where you just rip them open, and a lot of them they're already seasoned and mixed up. You just grab a fork and you can eat out of that.
Oh, it's like a lunch pack kind of idea, like snack
Not
pack thing.
kind of, but not totally. Like it's just it's literally just like a little foil packet that you rip open, but it'll be like Mediterranean. God, I can't talk tonight.
Yo,
Mediterranean.
Like garlic.
Hold on. Sora's
Ooh, this looks good.
Kanukastani. She might not have that out there.
I think they should be in a lot
I-
of places.
What is it? Sunkissed,
I'll
right?
have to. Well,
Sunkissed
I'll
makes
take a
it?
look. Starkist.
Like
Starkissed, yeah, Sunkissed is the
yeah,
fucking
that
thing.
Bumblebee
Animal.
has them too, and
Bumblebee,
yeah, and some they even have them in chicken, and they have one that's chicken salad. You literally just throw it on a piece of bread, and it's already a chicken salad on your sandwich.
We have a Canadian version it's called Cloverleaf. They have it. Rip and ready
Yeah,
pouch.
see, those are
tuna.
awesome.
There we go.
You hear how
Those
you
are
hear how
awesome.
quickly we went from you have to crank a mechanical tool to open some tuna and then
Hey,
slowly drain the horrid
Yeah.
and disgusting liquid out of this can to hey,
Look.
did you know there's a pouch that you could just
It
go ahead
says
and
well,
right
crack
I want to
here.
let her
open
know.
and it
No
I want-
tastes good too.
training. This is fantastic.
There you go.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Wonderful.
Hey,
Yeah, this is
As
here.
a woman who used to work really long hours at a very physical job, I can tell you there are times I got home, and especially certain times I was just too fucking tired to do shit. But you're still supposed to eat something after like 14 hours, so I got easy food like packets of tuna.
This sounds like
Feral
the one.
raccoons, the lot of you.
So this one's delicious. So this is the Canadian one. So like cloverleaf. So it's yellowfin tuna, water, peas, carrot, onion, leek, and beet powder with sea salt. Yummy.
Yeah.
Wait, all in one packet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's you can eat like for cottage camping or a quick meal at your desk.
So
No mess.
these
Yeah,
are
they have, like,
MREs. You people are eating like you're in a fucking survival mode.
It's
Yes,
fantastic.
because
I
we
love it.
are.
Yeah,
Fucking give
raccoon.
me an MRE.
Survival MRE.
They're
Hey.
eating again like feral raccoons. This is the best
Hey,
way of
that was
summing
a
up this
fancy-
entire thing. You're feral raccoons.
Hey, that is a fancy feral raccoon right there. It's all mixed up and seasoned and everything. Okay.
Yeah, but this raccoon, there's one raccoon who's like, yeah, I got all I have to do is boil this into one pot and crack it open in from this aluminum foil package. The other
No,
one's
you
sitting
don't
there
have to
like,
cook it.
I gotta crank open this machine and then all of a sudden
You know,
I have to
she
fucking
didn't
churn
know about
butter.
the packet. She doesn't
No,
know
I
about the
didn't.
packets. Now she does, and she can get them, and she'll eat a little better.
Yes, thank you.
I've had a very long time doing this. I've been working since I was 14. I,
Yeah, I'm still just absolutely baffled by the feel that you need to do any of this.
Well, if you're too tired to cook and you're not forced to, why?
Because the food is better.
Yeah, but if you're just trying to eat and then pass out, you don't need fancy food. You just need not to die.
But the food is better.
It's just eating to survive, and that's what a lot of women do. Like it's not like eating to enjoy shit. It's just eating so you don't die before you wake up in the morning.
Hey, I
It's
like
just
what I like.
something to make you a bit happy and to put the hunger pangs away.
Well, because going
No,
back to what
you aren't talking about happy foods here. You're talking about
Hey,
Onions make
I've
me
been-
happy.
you're
yeah,
talking
onions are
about
good.
the fucking rationing from World War II hasn't been lifted yet.
Hold on.
Pickles make me very happy.
I have
Mhm.
a quick question for the two ladies, because as you were describing earlier, you're the cuisine that you were picking out was like like a finger foods type of thing. It sounded like
Yeah,
like
stuff
little
you can
bits
just
of
grab easy. Yeah,
Mhm.
little bits of this, little bits of that.
cheese.
Yeah, I wouldn't honestly, I wouldn't mind that where it's like a bits of cheese, bits of little pieces of meat, like a couple slices
Yeah,
of salami,
Oh,
maybe
Yeah.
I
some
have.
Won't
olives.
you go
Uh,
becoming a feral raccoon as well?
it's a great way to
Listen.
live. Sometimes you don't do it all the time.
hold on.
There are
You
days
haven't-
where cutting the cheese, like just slicing it like a civilized person, is not enough. Just eat a chunk out of the block of cheese.
Well, hold on.
Adam, when did Gremlin Granny get to your fingers and toes?
See, Sora, I prep for that. There's one day a week that I chop up all the cheese and put it in a bag for when I'm
on.
going to be feral.
Sanguine,
That's smart.
you're trying to cut me from my point. Um, so would it be okay if I can eat it, laying down, and,
Yeah,
and just
just take a plate to bed with you and just eat it there.
okay? See, decadence. That's
Throw some
where we're
grapes on a
going.
plate, throw
But
some cheese on a plate, throw some meat on a plate, and then go eat it in your bed. That's cool.
And
so,
just watch
Poppy,
there
you
and
chop
have
off
some.
the cheese. Sometimes I
Yeah.
will grate a whole block of cheese. Just like go to town, grate it. There's something very satisfying about just eating shredded cheese, and
Yeah.
it's great.
Shredded cheese. Okay,
Yeah.
you got me there because there is some shredded cheese that you could just be like, yeah.
One of my favorite.
the only one in this conversation that isn't just 4 raccoons in a person suit?
Yes.
Listen, I'm happy that one of us is a functioning person. That's great, but sometimes you just need like there's been times when I forgot I needed to buy bread. I have a full fridge. There's meat, there's stuff to make, but there's no bread, and I will cry real tears.
Okay, you know what? I won't do like a slice of white bread, right? That or like
As-
any type of that type of bread. Like there I have, it has to be a roll, or wine roll. Oh, yo.
As a simple
Yeah.
meal that I did tonight, I had comfy garlic that I mashed up, that I used some of the butter that I had comfied the garlic in. I threw that in a pan, seared off some shrimp, pulled the shrimp out, threw in mushrooms, let the mushrooms dry fry, threw in a bit of that butter, let those fry up in the butter, then put in the mashed confit garlic, some Riesling, a splash of lemon juice, tossed in some angel hair pasta that I quickly mixed up, threw the shrimp back in, and then plated that. That was a quick and easy, dead simple dinner.
You're very frou-frou, and we all know this.
Hey, wasn't Riesling a Harry Potter character?
One of my after I went on a very strict diet for my getting my blood sugars under control. One of my favorite meals where it's just really simple and easy because I prep everything ahead of time. So like I boil like 8 eggs and put them in a Ziploc bag and stick them in the freezer, or not freezer but refrigerator. And so like I would come home, I would just throw some wasabi almonds on a plate, get the eggs, put them on a plate, some pickles and some cheese, and then I would come and eat it in my bedroom.
You know, Sanguine, I'm not gonna lie. I would love to be able to feast on the cuisines that you would craft, but um,
I
you
don't want to
know,
make them.
well, it's not even that I don't want to make them. If I had the opportunity and the the what was it the supplies and the time to do it, I would, yeah, for
I was
sure. I
making
would. No, no,
I
no.
was
It's
making this food when I was working 80 plus hours a week, and I
no,
had
no, no.
one day off that I would
I
switch between nocturnal and
I am
diurnal.
I am not disparaging you, in
I,
any sense. I'm saying I would 100% do it, but I am also content, like I've told you before many a times. I am also content with hardtack and bacon grease. Like I really don't mind, and that's why when they're talking about what they're eating, it's like, yeah, I get that. That's a couple of bits of cheese, couple of bits of meats, and maybe some
yeah.
veggies here or there. You're good. That's all you
When
need.
people make charcuterie boards, that's normal. If you just do a little one for yourself, apparently that's a big deal.
No, when you're eating like a feral raccoon, that's when it becomes strange.
I think
When
we
you're
gave Sanguine a mental breakdown.
when you're eating
I
people
think
food.
so.
Well, he's a
We
chef.
are eating people food. We're not. It's not
We're
like we're
not
eating
eating
kibbles.
people.
When
It's
you're
all
eating
people
That
food.
people
being
food,
said,
like people,
there's something about having like another thing I really like is we always try to remember to keep like a box of Weetabix in the house because like two of
Weetabix.
those Weetabix,
What? Hold on. What's a Weetabix?
It's like
it's
a
a cereal.
Triscuit.
Whoa.
Oh no, it's like the wheaty.
Oh, it's
It's just that
a
block of
Weetabix.
wheat,
It's
right?
yeah, it's a big block of like wheat, shredded wheat,
Oh wait, it's
Like
one of
the
those.
shredded wheat.
like
Okay,
the
I've
shredded
seen
wheat,
those,
but like the mother
and
version.
it's the one that you're supposed to put in the bowl, and you're supposed to break it up yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, would you after you pour the milk on it, it turns into yeah. It's that big giant. You know the mini wheats that people
It is.
normally eat. They
It
have
is.
the big ass version.
To be
yeah.
honest, at this point, it is the white whale. I want to see this in person.
They don't really sell around here anymore, but I remember my grandparents used to eat it.
Well, I'm gonna have to go and make a journey up to Kazakhstan.
Oh, I love Weetabix. It's delicious. I think it's because it's a British thing, maybe.
Did Captain Ahab have one eye?
We had that, but in a different brand. And now they're tiny and frosted. So
I like the tiny frosted
Slightly
one.
better. Tastes
Yeah.
that's American for you. We took something every other country does, and we shrank it and covered it in sugar.
put in sugar. I mean, listen, it's not bad. It's not good for you, but it's
I mean, it
delicious.
tastes great, but I mean, there's really no reason to add that much sugar. But yeah,
I'm trying to think of other horrible things that I will eat to make Sanguine just lose his mind.
I don't think he'd have a problem with the wheat block.
No,
Do you have a problem? Do you have a problem with the wheat block, sir?
nah, it's just again eating like feral raccoons.
and this is
You're a
coming from
person.
yeah.
I've eaten
Eat
cake for
like a
breakfast before.
person.
Oh,
I've eaten cake for breakfast
excellent. That's tip tier. I love that.
before I was diabetic.
I think probably everyone's eaten a cake for breakfast at least once.
Oh, I like so you know cottage cheese, right? So you get
Yeah,
but that not the dry one, just the cottage curds, but the actual cottage cheese with that has a little bit of the liquidy way, whatever it is.
there's
Yep.
dry.
Yeah, you can buy dry curds. We usually
Huh.
have the dry curds ones. It's good if you're trying to. It's less fat, so
I don't think we have that around here.
it it's like diet food. It's not bad. It's just
See, the regular
it's
cottage cheese is
bad.
diet food for Texas.
Hold on. You said it's diet food, and then you said it's not bad. Don't you lie to us.
That's why I said it's not bad. It's just a bit sad because it's not the full fat of cottage cheese. But anyway, so you have cottage cheese, right? And then you add a couple of spoonfuls of Nesquik chocolate milk powder to it, and then you mix it up, and that's delicious. So that's dinner. I used to eat that since I was like a kid.
I have put protein powder mix in cottage cheese before, so
Yeah,
kind of the
that's
same
probably a
theory.
little. Yeah, it's a bit better because we actually have some protein in it.
What? Hold on,
Like
Sanguine. What do you think of this?
Or-
stuff to it.
Well, I've done protein powder whipped creams.
Yeah,
But cream
Those are
cheese?
delicious.
I
Yeah.
do it with yogurt, not
It's
cream
fucking
cheese,
strange.
cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese,
Cottage
Adam.
cheese?
Yeah, I
Isn't it
love
the same
cottage cheese.
thing?
I do it with Greek
No.
yogurt
So
now.
they're different, but actually, I would have an easier time understanding it if it was like a creamy goat cheese, because creamy goat cheese can go really well with dessert flavors.
No,
Yeah, I
no.
do it with Greek yogurt now.
This is not fancy. This is, like you said, raccoon food.
Feral raccoon.
Feral raccoon
Okay.
food.
We're not even
Um,
domesticated.
Yeah, you aren't even a domesticated raccoon. You're a feral raccoon digging
You know this is
through.
this is most women, right? Like most women, if they don't have to cook for other people, just do this. Like TikTok has proven it because pretty much everybody agreed. Like it's a secret that we just don't tell men, but it everybody does it.
I'm holding out hope. It's just those that have been completely rotted by social media.
I've seen my grandmother has never been on a computer in her entire life. That whole time she was alive, she never got on social media. She tried to get on Facebook. She made 5 accounts, and they all had different names that she misspelled.
Nice. Love it.
And she couldn't figure out how to text people. She still ate that way. Like it's just an all woman thing. We don't see the point in doing the big dinners if it's just for us.
Yeah.
Like that's
Like-
for when you're cooking for everyone, not for just you by yourself.
Save it is when I'm cooking for just me by myself.
You're not a woman. Last time I
Yeah.
checked.
Yeah, I'm not a woman. But the thing is that it just imagining that half of the human species is actually just 4 feral raccoons in a person suit.
Blow your mind.
That
He's upset.
That doesn't seem right.
Well, and then you keep things around that you can eat easily, like bananas,
Yeah.
apples, bell peppers,
Salami.
salami. Oh my god, I will
I
buy
love salami.
like a packet, right? Like the pre-slice or whatever.
Yeah, the hard
Get
salami.
like a couple of 100 grams of salami or mortadella or something, and I don't buy it because I will
Prosciutto.
eat it. Oh my god,
By
I
the
will just
way,
wait.
the
I'll
fact
bring
that
it
you-
home and I will just sit there. Like I'll just eat the pack of that.
Yeah.
The
that
fact
is
that you
a
said
dream.
apples second and not just a shit ton of cylindrical foods saved you from a joke.
Oranges. I mean, yeah, just have fruit and vegetables and meat around, and you don't really need to cook. You just put it on a plate and wander off. Like
Because if
Yeah.
it was just, you keep things that are easy to eat around, like bananas, salami,
cucumbers.
sausages.
Hey,
hot
the salami's
dogs.
already cut up. The salami's already cut up. So your
Yeah.
dick joke became a very violent one.
No, have you never had hard salami?
Yes, we have,
yes,
but we're
of
talking
course.
about the pre-sliced ones because if you have to
Yeah.
slice it, it defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
You're feral raccoons, just bite it.
No, you buy it pre-sliced and then you're good.
That's an inferior quality product.
Ah,
Get the better quality one, just
and
bite it.
see,
You're
I
a
do
feral
cook-
raccoon anyways.
I do. I already said I prep for my feral raccoonness. I cut up my cheese. I boil eggs. I have a prep day for my feral raccoonness. Okay.
No, I think I see the barrier that Sanguine has built up here. He pretty much sees us who would have no problem eating
We're the plebes.
assorted hold on, odd enough, assorted cheeses and sliced meats and
Olives.
vegetables and
Olives.
enjoying these as it were. He sees it as us eating Slim Jims and string cheese, and
Ooh, I love string cheese.
Some
and
jobs are pretty good too.
the only way that you can, as
Apparently not incorrectly.
hold on, the only way you should properly eat a meal is if you actually prep a whole meal that one would prep for a family maybe, but for yourself.
Yeah. See, I do all the cooking now that I don't work.
Every
I've
now
been
and then,
doing all
but
the
holy shit.
now that I'm a stay-at-home wife, I do I prep Chris's lunches for work the entire week, and I do dinners and all that stuff. I'm just saying, if it's lunchtime and nobody's home with me, yeah, I'm probably gonna eat some almonds and cheese and a pickle and olives and basically have one of those snack board things, just ghetto style, because I'm already doing all the other
Hey,
cooking. Why can't I just
I'm not
eat a
trying to
plate?
impress myself.
Yeah,
Shit.
a handful of nuts. That's excellent for dinner. Shut up, Sanguine.
Hey,
For
all I'm
flavor
saying
nuts?
is that you're lucky that you said apple as your second one.
He stuck on the dick joke.
Oh, no.
No, the dick joke was damn near gifted. The only thing that threw it off was that you said
Talking
apples
fucking
as the second one. If you
We've been
hadn't
talking.
have said apples, it would have just been pitched right down the plate. And when you pitch it down the plate, are you expecting me not to swing?
We've been talking for a while after that. That's why I said you're stuck on it.
But then it was brought back up when she said that just a load of nuts is a good meal, and then tried
Oh God! She said a handful of almonds. That's what he said.
And I
Well,
knew
hold
where he
on,
was
hold on.
going with it too.
Let me add a twist here because alongside the sliced cheeses and meats and all that, you know, as a person of color, I can introduce tortilla and then just add those cheeses and meats and make a taco. So I can enjoy a nice taco, and I'm not raccoon feasting. I'm culinary Mexican.
A long time ago, I said I didn't think you were white, and we had a whole argument about it. Are you telling me you're not?
Huh?
A long time ago, back in yesteryears, I said I didn't think you were white, and then we ended up having a whole argument about it, where you kept
Oh,
saying you were, and I kept saying I didn't think you were white.
yeah, no, I'm okay.
And you fucked with me for a while about it. Are you telling me
I'm
you're not?
I'm brown.
I know.
And that's pretty much I use it to my advantage when I can. When I can, I mean, why not?
Because I'm sorry, you put off very Hispanic vibes.
No, well, I mean, I can't speak the language.
Okay, I didn't say you spoke Spanish.
No, not at all.
I said you put off Hispanic vibes. I'm not saying you are Hispanic, but
Wait,
it just comes off very Latino.
What kind of
I don't
Hispanic?
know. I grew up with half my
They-
family's Latino. You put off the Latino. Like they grew up in Dallas. They didn't. A lot of them didn't speak Spanish either. It's just the
Hey, and
vibe.
I'm kind of happy that Dallas won the other day. Did you see the game?
the interest
No,
in
I do not. I do not partake in the sports balls.
also probably one of the things that saw Hispanic vibes is the interest in early Mesoamerican empires.
Oh, well, I mean, come on. There's a lot of Germans who are
Also,
interested in that.
I have recently saw a picture of you, and there was a sombrero on a wall where you were. So,
Oh,
and you're like, white people can have that too. And I'm like, sir.
hey, everybody likes a sombrero. It keeps the sun out of your eyes.
Totally.
I'm just calling that out because we had a whole fucking argument about that back in the day, and I'm like, wait a minute.
No, I mean, I don't know about that.
You took it offensively that I said I didn't think you were white because you said something about as a white man, and I'm like, I didn't think you were white.
Well, as a black man, what I can say is I don't think I'm Hispanic.
I was really worried where that joke was going.
I don't know if I could have pulled off a black man joke. So
Yeah, don't do that.
I only
I
have-
was just expecting straight up GTA quotes there.
well, GTA 6 is going to be revealed on the 5th, so
Mhm.
nice plug. I should get my $10 in the mail.
Only 10?
Well, yeah, I'm a brown guy. If I was white,
Oh,
they'd
my
be
Lord.
20.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh,
Huh?
jeez.
I am not, sir. Sorry, Chris just got out of the shower. I got to go, but he walked in and said, "Okay, racist Pop Tart."
So
I'm
if
not
It was
racist.
not.
I knew he wasn't white, and I was right.
You stop stealing at the brown people on the internet.
Chris, did y'all hear him? He said you need to stop yelling at the brown people on the internet.
So, like, you get like the last 30 minutes in the shower, fucking just yelling at people.
I'm sorry if I'm yelling. I'm not meaning to yell. I get a little overexcited.
No
But
yelling.
if
I'm
you
pretty sure our
have to,
neighbors know about the conversation.
if you
Okay,
have
well,
to
I got,
head off, shall we do parting words?
okay.
I'll let you go first since you have the most pressing cutoff.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. It was fun. I know I don't get on as much as I used to, but I appreciate y'all having me on.
Always fun.
All right, y'all have a good night.
Good night, Poppy.
I'm sorry I was
All right,
loud.
No
No.
worries.
It's good.
They have to end the conversation.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Shall we continue on with the four feral raccoons in a person suit and go with Sora, or shall we go to Adam next?
Uh,
Go with the human. Sure.
Is exactly what a raccoon would say, so you should go with a raccoon.
No, it's 4 feral raccoons in a person suit.
Oh, like Little Rascal style.
Yeah,
Oh, that makes sense.
or
It's
like the
kinda
kids
stuff.
on each other's shoulders in the overcoat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, Sora, go ahead.
Or if you wanted to, you could imagine it as a raccoon Voltron.
Whoa.
Raccoons, assemble! Wah-pa-pa-pa-pa.
And then
I'll
like
form the head.
yeah, and then there's a raccoon that forms an arm.
Yep.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go.
Raccoon Voltron.
Closing thoughts. Well, hey, thanks again for letting me hang out with you guys.
Always fun.
And yeah, I love you all, and God bless. Hope you have a good weekend, everybody.
You as well.
Mm.
Sora, which of your raccoons would like to speak?
The third one.
Okay.
It's don't knock it till you try it. Girl dinner is best dinner. You don't need to spend ages on all sorts of fancy food if you don't have the time. It's good.
You don't need to spend ages cooking regardless. You can just make a really good meal fairly quick.
Yeah.
Yo, no, I'm gonna try it. I'm
By
gonna
eating
ask this supermodel out, and I'm
a
gonna be like,
piece
yo,
of
lady.
slice of bread, a
Yep.
hunk of cheese, maybe a tomato, and you're good to go. No cooking required.
Shrimp,
And no onion.
butter,
I'm telling you,
angel
Doug, I'm
hair
getting ya.
pasta,
Nope, that's cooking.
parm and garlic.
Nope,
It's dead
cooking.
easy. Splash of lemon juice.
nope.
Dead easy.
And
Done
some
quick.
olives or something, and a pickle. Oh no.
Well, you can do a potato salad that has pickle.
Okay, but now you're talking about actually working a okay, that's closing thoughts, right?
Yes, closing thoughts. So I'll sign off with my usual of if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Good night.
Good night, all. And clicking this, it takes a second after that is clicked